Over the years, I've done a lot of tutorials on EveryDollar and specifically helping with workarounds when you're not paid monthly. You see, EveryDollar has always been a monthly budgeting software, which is great, but when you're paid bi-weekly or weekly or every other week, it can get tricky organizing those funds within a monthly platform. Well, the good news is recently EveryDollar launched a beta test within the platform where you can actually break it down by paycheck and not just by month. This is huge, and today I'm going to be breaking that down for you and how you can utilize it inside of your budget. All right, let's dig into my EveryDollar app now. As always, this is a sample account, and so it's a little bit messy as we get in here. In fact, I even went backward to November of 2021 just to be able to find a clean slate month that we can play with. Now, what we're going to see here is up here on the top right, you'll see that risk of overspending is low. Now, you'll see there it might say Paycheck Planning Setup, and so if you haven't messed with it, I've played around with it a little bit, so it's already quote unquote set up in this account. But when you do it for the first time, right where you see that risk of overspending low, that's going to be for paycheck planning. And so I'm going to click on that. A couple things you want to notice is down the left column, you'll see in those circles, we have dates. This is the dates that it defaults to, and it's defaulting everything to the first of the month. I'm going to click on the paycheck one first. Now we're going to choose the dates we're actually paid. There's a couple ways to organize these. Number one, if we come back here, maybe it's you're married, and so each of you gets paid a certain amount. So we can come up in here. We're going to click on the top three dots up there and you can rename it. Maybe it's spouse one. Okay. And then the other person, I'm going to click on those three dots in the top corner. I'm going to click rename and we're going to put spouse two. Now that we've done that, let's come back over to the paycheck planning. So we're going to click on dates and you're going to pick the 2 times this month. So in this example, November 2021, what are the 2 times this month that I'm going to get paid if you're paid twice? Maybe it's the 1st and 15th. And so you'll see here, right here in spouse one, we see plus 2,500 right here. That's the amount of paycheck that's going in for this first check. And then you're going to, the bottom number is really the total here. So because we have spouse two, we haven't changed their income yet. It's saying that they've already earned 3,700. You're earning 2,500. Here's the total. If I scroll down, then what I'm going to find down here on the 15th is the second paycheck that's going to be coming in. Then we want to come through and on each of these transactions, we actually want to change their dates. What date do they charge? Now this is going to take some time to set up, but the good news is it should carry over the next month. So anything that's recurring, you're not going to have to do this every single month. So your first time setup is actually coming in here, plugging in the dates that these things are due. When does Netflix actually charge? Maybe it's the 19th. It's going to be assigning these things to each of the paychecks. The next thing we want to look for is some of those recurring ones. So groceries, for example. And it's really is, and you can see the question at the top is, when do you want $200 for groceries available to spend? Which I know feels kind of low. But let's just say you want to shop weekly. Down here, it's going to tell you exactly how much it is on a weekly schedule. Now, what's great about this, for those of you who are paid weekly, is you can see as we fill this out, it's going to show you as funds are available when you're going to run out of money. And so because I'm going to come up here, we know that spouse one got paid $2,500 on the first of the month. Then we have all these expenses here. You can see these green. There's green behind each word. You can see it getting smaller and smaller. You can also see over here on the right, the numbers are getting smaller. So you can see the account balances. The top number in blue, that minus, is what's being taken away, that specific line item. And then the bottom number, the big bold number, is your leftover. What's left over of that paycheck. And so down here, as they turn red, that means essentially too much is planned for that first paycheck. So too many expenses are planned out before that next check is due on November 12th by spouse two. If you have some variable expenses here, like groceries, you might be able to adjust that. And honestly, the beginning of the month, you're going to probably have more expenses. That's when mortgages are due or rent is due. So you might just have to move some stuff around. Again, I haven't assigned a lot of due dates for these, but let's just say, for example, you just decide, okay, I'm going to decide I can't spend any money on clothing until the second part of the month. Maybe I'm going to bump that back to the 22nd. That's when I want the money to be available. Again, some of these variable ones, it's not when am I going to spend it. When do I want that money available to me to spend? So $50 for clothing. The first part of my month was too overloaded. So I don't want that money available in my budget for me until the 22nd. We still have some things down here that are a little red. Maybe we need to call our auto insurance, see if we can move that due date to after the 12th. So I'm going to move that to the 15th. So you see what I'm talking about. You have the chance to proactively engage. This is the first time in the years that EveryDollar's been a thing where you can actually budget based on the paycheck. So I've created videos of hacks, ways around this for many years in EveryDollar because it's a monthly budgeting software. And so a lot of people who are paid bi-weekly, maybe in the budget in general, were okay. We're $24.86 left to budget. We're cash heavy. You can see that we're still at a risk of overspending, and that's because of this first paycheck here. Now, the thing about this is almost twofold. So you're still going to be engaging in the budget like normal. So as you're rolling through here, this is where you're going to be tracking your expenses. This is where you will be engaging on the day-to-day. You're going to be treating it very similarly to how you've always used it in that monthly budgeting aspect. Over up on this part is really just for the planning, how to plan it out to make sure that your expenses are falling where they should fall. And as long as you are sticking to groceries $40 per week, then you should be okay. But for the rest of the month, you're really going to be engaging in your planning over here. Now, I do want to remind you, this is a beta test, so this is going to be growing. I'm going to continue to learn more about it. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than what I've even seen just in my few passes through. So keep your eye out for some updated videos. If you feel like there's something I overlooked, I missed, or maybe I even misspoke on, drop it in the comments box below so that I can release new videos talking through some of those things as we all learn this platform together. All right, guys, be sure to like this video so other people can find it, and I will see you next week.